Will Lair of Perpetual Assets. It's been too long since I've talked to you. How are you, sir?
I am well, my friend. How are you?
I was sick for a little while, but I'm back full strength, so I'm doing good. I haven't talked to you in too many months. It's about time we caught up. Did you leave California?
I did. I joined the Exodus. Yep.
You were tired of getting Californicated. Good. Well,
Yeah. COVID hit, and then the lockdowns, the government response, the desire to mask and jab my kids, all the above, man. It was just, it got to be too much.
would we have believed 20 years ago that Americans would be moving to quote free states? Would we have? It's just amazing how far and how fast we've degraded into tyranny in this country. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, it happened very fast. I mean, you can see how these authoritarian nightmare regimes can actually occur, right? And in here, it's we literally, I mean, they call us medical refugees. And there's, I mean, we moved
Wow.
back to Texas. We're in Central Texas, but Texas and Florida is just full of people fleeing. You know,
You like Texas?
I do. Yeah, I miss the ocean, but we've got a lot of great rivers here and lakes, and the overarching sentiment of freedom and liberty
Yeah.
is really one that touches me pretty closely.
Well, we have some data that it might be a good idea to be inland from the ocean. Hold that up again. What is that?
That's
Don't
just
tread
my
on me.
my "Don't Tread on Me" water mug.
Yeah, that's great. Well, uh, that's kind of a dire beginning. We have better news to talk about, and that is how you can help give people a more secure financial future. And how long have I've known you? Like 4 to 5 years. I knew you for a while. Bix Weir introduced me to you, and I did my homework, and I realized this is something I need to do. Yeah, I'm going to create my own self-directed IRA with Will Lair at Perpetual Assets. But that moment of picking up the phone and calling T. Rowe Price, it's very easy to put off. And I did for a few months. And my wife was saying, are you going to roll over? You need to get that money into cryptos. I said, yeah, I'm going to do that. Today I'm going to clean my office. I'll do it tomorrow, and like, well, I need to go wash the car. You kept putting it off. And finally I did. And there was a day that I got on the, called my 401k, said, I want to take out X amount of money and roll it over. The guy said, okay, who are you? There's an official number and designation that Perpetual Assets has. And I gave that to him, and he said, oh, yeah, we can send a check. I said, what's the penalty? He said, there's no penalty. And I said, how much taxes will I pay on that? And he says, you don't pay any taxes because you're rolling it over. I did it. I took it out of the system. And even in a down market, Will Lair, I'm still ahead. I'm very inflation. I hate to see it, but it's not the horror because I protected myself. Okay, tell us a little bit about, with that lead in, tell us about Perpetual Assets, because we have some new subscribers and new people that haven't heard me talk to you. Give us
Yeah,
the
it's been a
overview.
while. It's been a while. You and I haven't talked in at least a couple of years. Yeah, well, the IRA that we set up, it's a type of self-directed IRA called an IRA LLC, and it allows you to manage your IRA. Basically, you become the financial manager, excuse me, of your retirement account. You have checkbook control. You can write a check or send a bank wire for whatever investment you want to make. It's used for everything from real estate to cryptos to metals to stocks and bonds. We've seen a tremendous interest in metals and cryptos, the last decade or so. And it puts the individual in the driver's seat where you control everything, right? With the cryptos, and the metals. I mean, this is kind of a long game. So those folks that have done this, generally are very happy with the results. I mean, you're not real happy if you bought Bitcoin at $50,000 or 60 or whatever, but and there are those folks, right? But
Well,
for the
they
most
they
part,
just need to wait a little longer.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
it is a long game. Averaging in is great. I mean, despite the crashing that we've seen in equities markets, in crypto markets, the last 6-9 months, silver, I mean, is still very resilient, and physical silver, the premiums are high. You can't even really, it hasn't really gone down in price at all. So I think that's a great ballast.
Well,
Get
here's
some
a reason
physical
why I
silver.
wanted here's a reason why I wanted to talk to you today. Talking with our technical analyst, who I've worked with for 2.5 years now, Marty Hibbs. He's seen incredible strength in the dollar. The dollar pegged to other currencies, the euro, the yen, the yuan. The dollar is really strong right now, and
Yep.
don't ask me why. That's a whole other show. But when the dollar is strong, it brings precious metals down. And what Marty is seeing right now is he believes we're going to have a blow off top on the US dollar, and then it will fall. And we'll get to cryptos in a minute. I'm specifically talking about precious metals. He thinks it's a very good time to get gold and silver. And one way to do that is through perpetual assets. How would someone do that if they're sitting on an IRA or 401k, they're my age and they've put it in for 30 years? What would be a plan? Walk us through that just for
Sure.
metals, then we'll get into cryptos later.
We have an application. I mean, call us anytime. We discuss. We've been doing this a long time. I've seen my partner. It's really just my partner, Gus, myself, and our associate, Ian, who's our in-house attorney. There's really just three of us that are managing the clients and handling all this. So you won't talk to it's not a 1-8, we have a 1-800 number, but it's not one of those deals. You know what I mean? This is a very curtailed type of client-centric, service-oriented kind of boutique solution, where this is a bit, as you said, per your own experience, this was a big step. It's a big plunge. It's a big leap. Even when gosh, I got to get my stuff out of that system. I've got this 401k, I've got this IRA, but I don't trust those mutual funds. I know I got to get it out of there, but it's still so ingrained in you for so many years and years and years. You funded that thing, it did its thing. So it's a big leap. We don't tell you what to do with your money, right? I don't tell you where to go invest it or what to buy or what have you, but we can help transition the self-directed IRA where you're in control, and you can it's a series of paperwork, a couple documents that we have to draft and get approved and everything, and get everything set up and teach you how to use it. Make sure you're comfortable with it, whatever your investment goals are. For you, it may have been crypto. For some folks, it's, well, I want to get some crypto, I want to get some silver, and I want to maybe get some land too. You can do all those things just as easily. But basically what we do, we get the IRA open, we get the funds rolled over, and then if you're ready to purchase metals, it's as simple as, what bars or coins are you looking at, and where do you want to store them? Where do you want to have them sent?
What the precious metal, that was how Perpetual Assets began, wasn't it? Years ago. And
Yep.
I want to interject something, that when you're talking about T. Rowe Price and Charles Schwab and the big mutual funds, you're more of a specialized boutique investment firm with fewer people and better one-on-one access. But that doesn't mean that you're not fully authorized. Like, you're totally under the law. It's all legal. You've gone through all the due diligence for the financial approval. You have just as much authority to set this up as the big firms.
Correct. Yeah. The trustee that we use, who's ultimately the custodian of the IRA account, is a multi-billion-dollar, legal custodial firm, right? We're at Perpetual Assets, we're acting as a consulting firm and a facilitator, a legal facilitator, setting this thing up for you, acting kind of as an attorney would, setting it up, teaching you how to use it. But the actual trustee services, the individual, in most cases, your Bank of America or your Prudential, they hold the account and they typically hold the assets too, the stocks, the mutual funds,
Yeah.
the bonds. That's the typical custodial relationship. In this environment, you still have a custodian that's ordained and licensed and everything else. They hold the account itself, but they don't, in this case, they don't hold the assets, right?
Yeah.
You do. You custody the assets, or you control where those are stored or where those are custodied.
There will come a day, mark my words. Okay, and I'll first preface this by saying this is not financial advice. Do your own due diligence. We're just giving you some suggestions where you can do your own research. And I'm speaking from personal experience, but there's going to come a day when the stock market's going to go batshit crazy, and people are going to be calling their financial advisors and trying to liquidate, and they're not going to get through. I, on the other hand, have a Trezor wallet in a safe that I hold that has my assets that have increased in value, even in this down market, substantially. So what I did, let's walk through. I don't remember all the steps because you guys did it for me. I made the decision. I called you. I said, okay, I'm going to open a self-directed IRA. You guys formed the LLC for me. You did all the paperwork. You sent me a PDF file with my information, and that was it was my initials, LLC. And so it's the Dick Allgire LLC. That's not the name of it, but let's call it the Dick Allgire LLC. You got, it was all done. I didn't do anything. It was like, I don't know how to, well, I do know how to form an LLC now, but back then I didn't. You formed it for me. When I went to the bank to open the bank account, the bank said, well, we'll need to see the operating agreement and all this paperwork and whatever. I called Will. I said, they're asking for all this. And you said, we sent that to you. It's in a PDF on 2 emails ago. Oh, clicked on it, printed it out, took it to the bank, said, here. The bank officials read it, said, oh, this is all in order. Okay, we'll open a bank account. And the money was transferred. Will and his guys, Gus, got on the phone with me, transmitted the cryptos to my personal wallet that is a Trezor wallet. It's a separate wallet. It's in a safe. And that feeling of having my own IRA in my own hand in something that I totally control, it's a great feeling.
Yeah,
really
no counterparties, no third parties, nobody, the system falls apart. You can sleep at night. You're not worried about even cash in the bank,
So I've done that. It was smooth. It was easy. Perpetual Assets did all the paperwork, held my hand, transmitted. Gus was on the phone with me, said, Dick, we're sending a test amount for $2. It came. Okay. Chat about the weather, talk about politics. We just sent the rest. It'll take 5 minutes to go through the chain. Oh, it's here. There you go. I've had a couple of people that from cryptoviewing who have done the same thing. One lady, she says, oh, I had this 401k and I have these kids, and she took it out, and I felt this terrible responsibility. Like, oh man, I don't know if I should be telling, I know it's going to be okay. Then a few months later, I had people calling me up saying, I want to meet you on the beach, Dick. I've quit my job. I've moved to Hawaii with a one-way ticket. I'm buying a house. Yeah. Cryptos ran there for a big while, and they're going to run again.
Yeah. I mean, this will be it's funny. I had a friend saw it today, and she was like, how you doing weathering the crypto storm or whatever? I was like, I think this is my third one. So you get used to it. You wish you would have taken more profits, and you
Yeah,
wish you had more cash flow right now to be buying more. I mean, right now is optimal. I mean, this is an optimal time
this is a
to.
perfect time. If
Oh,
you have dollars in an IRA, or if this is one of your last chances to get out of that system that is going to crumble, that is
yeah.
going to implode, and cryptos are going to be the big new
And they're on sale right now, like
yeah.
nobody's business.
And gold and silver too are down. You
Yeah,
could do a little gold and silver too.
yeah.
Have you heard about BlackRock is negotiating with Coinbase, and
Mm.
BlackRock wants to allow investors to put some of their 401ks and IRAs into cryptos by way of Coinbase. That's huge.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's, I don't know, $15 trillion in retirement accounts.
Hmm.
So something like that, huge number, 401ks, retirement accounts, all this. So we're just a little company. Even our competitors are just little, even the big shops that are doing
Yeah.
large amounts of self-directed IRAs, they're still little companies compared to these behemoths. And yeah, I mean, ultimately they want their investors have demand for cryptos, and they want to be able to offer them on an institutional platform level, which I saw that article just a few days ago coming out. And then there was one piggybacking it about Kevin O'Leary, the Shark Tank,
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Wonderful, about and I remember him 5, 6, 7 years ago poo-pooing Bitcoin, and now he's a big advocate. And it's funny, this most recent statement he had was the demand, the institutional demand is insatiable. That once
Yeah.
there are regulatory, it's all regulatory infrastructure.
Yeah.
Once you have approvals on the fund level for these large institutions to offer these assets, that's all they need. They need the okay. And that's being worked on right now, clearly, with this
Mhm.
BlackRock and Coinbase deal a few days ago. And O'Leary says, yeah, the demand is insatiable, and he thinks the BlackRock deal alone, well, if they spent 0.5% or invested 0.5% of their assets under management into Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin would be $90,000 or something.
Yeah.
Um, and that's one institution. So it's coming. It's coming, and
It is
now is the
coming.
time when you want to get in. I mean, we'll look back. We may have one more crash. We may have one more event and better prices. Similar with
I've
metals
got a
too.
buy order in for Bitcoin at about 17,000. It might even go to 15, and I'm going to buy a couple others. It's a sale price. But
Yeah.
Will, I've a number of people, directly because of my segments with you over the years, have done this, have opened accounts with Perpetual Assets. I've never had one person come back at me and say, oh man, I did that. That was a mistake. They've all been happy, even with the roller coaster rides that we get.
Yeah. Well, people, despite the roller coaster ride, if you did, buy at the peak, people, most people in this space, we own up to our own actions. Nobody's, yeah, Dick did this, but like people that come to us, by the time they come to us, they know they want to get out. It's not
Yeah.
because Dick said to, or because Dick said to, or because Berwick. It's because Babylon's falling, and I got to get it out of there. And this makes sense to me. This metals or this crypto or both or whatever. So the people that I know that have bought at higher prices and it's come down, said, no, well, we'll just wait it out. And thankfully, I've got the ability to buy more now. So
I'm looking up. I bought Bitcoin and Litecoin in my IRA, and when I did the deal with you, Litecoin was $25, and I bought some more at $35. Today it's 61. So I doubled my IRA. Stock market didn't do that. if you look at from that time. And like you say, I think I bought Bitcoin at some at 5,000, some at 9,000, some at 12,000, and it's at 23 something today. So and the peace of mind in having it yourself. Okay. So who's eligible?
And a quick point to your clients and people who, when it was 65,000, and what did Litecoin get to? $200. Like within the IRA, you can take profits, even though we know and believe this stuff's going to revolutionize everything. Don't sell all of it, sell a quarter of it, sell 10%, sell half, whatever, and keep those profits. They stay inside of the IRA. So if you want to, next time this thing goes up and shoots up crazy and everybody's feeling rich, shave some off the top and buy some gold or buy a rental property, all in the IRA. And there's no taxes on that if it's in the IRA. So that's another very cool thing. Like you can trade and buy and sell in and out of the assets too.
So let's take the people through the steps. The first thing would be and I'll put the phone number up, to call Will there at Perpetual Assets and get a hold of Will and Gus, and they'll walk you through this. And it's very easy once you make the decision. If you have an existing 401k or an IRA and you're able to roll that out, it doesn't cost you anything. You're not taxed on it because you're putting it in a tax deferred IRA, but you're getting control of it. So you contact them, they'll do all the paperwork to make your LLC for you. They'll send you that paperwork. You go to your bank, the bank will immediately open an account and you're good to go. You'll be on your way.
We hold your hand through it. We make it easy. So, hey, here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3, sign here, sign there. And then ultimately open the bank account at your local bank, whatever bank you want.
Yeah. And
that's where your IRA money goes. Your retirement money goes in that bank account, and then you can invest from there.
And if you say Dick Allgire and crypto viewing, you get a better rate on the what Will charges to do this. But the peace of mind is I'm so glad I did it. I got in at the 2018, 2019 dip. So it was very good for me. And we're in another dip.
Yep.
I probably would have encouraged people to do it when we were a year ago, when we were at 30, 40, 50,000 and heading up. But now it's a really good time.
Yeah. It's psychologically, it's hilarious. It's funny because we're built to do the opposite. Even myself, after living through enough of these and experiencing enough of these, you want to buy when it's roaring and it's going up and it's intuitively, that's just when you want to buy. Right now is not really when you want to buy. It's like, it's kind of, it's like bloody and kind of, I don't know. This is when you should buy, right? Because as Rothschild said it best, you want to buy when there's blood in the streets, including your own. Was that Rothschild?
Yeah,
one of them.
It was, one of those.
Blood in the streets, including your own.
Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, I wish cash flow was in a. That's it. At this point, you just want to buy more. That's what I tell people. Either, my mom the other day, crypto's coming back. Hey, just if you've got more cash, buy more, or don't look at the price. And when things are roaring, then you'll know. Okay, time to take some profits.
How's Gus doing? I haven't talked.
He's doing great. He's doing great. He moved to Naples, Florida. Yep. And he loves it.
Yeah, he went to a free state too. I met Gus at the Litecoin. We should go to the Litecoin conference this year. In 2019, we met you and Gus at the Litecoin conference. And I had talked to Gus on the phone when he held my hand transmitting my assets, but it was all very business-like and he had his business face on. I heard some segments with another YouTuber called Cuss with Gus, where Gus was letting the real Gus came out, and real character, great guy. I love that aspect of him. We all feel that way. So folks, again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I did this myself. I had them form the LLC for me. I have my self-directed IRA. It's been very profitable. My wife is so proud of me for doing that. It's on a Trezor wallet that's linked to our Exodus. Still doing good today, but when Bitcoin runs, we look at that and we high five each other. I saved my retirement. You know, Will, I'll tell you this. This is probably the best endorsement. At my age, I'm 68 and I'm retired, although I still do stuff for crypto viewing. But if I were having to live off my pension from the TV station and Social Security and the small 401k that I had, we would be at the table making out budgets like, yeah, you can't afford that bottle of wine. No, we can't travel. But because I rolled it over and cryptos have performed so well, I have twice what I would have had, thanks to you. So
you did the hard work.
Yeah. All right. So give Will Lair a call, drop him an email at Perpetual Assets, and I'll edit this into the screen and tell him I heard you with Dick Allgire. And then those of you that do it, send me an email at info@cryptoviewing and tell us how much better you feel. And when cryptos make their run, you're going to be so thankful. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I've been doing this long enough now. I talk to people who, you know, I'll have an old client from a decade ago that'll have a question and an issue with something, you know, a distribution and have a question for me. And then lo and behold, they say, yeah, you know, so-and-so changed my life. I'm retired now. You know, we hear a lot. So
this, awesome. Folks, this system is going down. There's no saving it. This latest bill that they passed, the Inflation Reduction Act, is exactly opposite to what they're saying. It's the Inflation Gasoline on the Fire Act. You're going to see more inflation. You're going to see bank failures. There's going to be a day when the stock market and you're going to be calling the person handling your mutual funds and 401ks and being desperate. You know, I have a friend that's in the stock market that's not into cryptos. I talked to him. He goes, boy, I've just been hurt so bad. I'm down hundreds of thousands. Man, I've lost so much. And I feel sorry for them. It's going to be hard times. It's going to be a great wealth transfer.
Big time.
Cryptos, gold and silver. Look into it. All right, we'll stay in touch and catch up more often. But this is a perfect time. Cryptos are down and they're not going to stay down for long.
Yeah.
Perpetual Assets, perpetualassets.com. Highly recommended. It's a partner of Crypto Viewing, and we give you our highest endorsement. Nice to catch up with you, Will. Stay cool in Texas. Is it hot down there?
You know it, my friend. 103 right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, you just get in the pool, but in the mornings it's 70s. So yeah, it's just hot in the afternoon.
In the winter time.
And this summer's been brutal. I mean, this summer has been record-breaking brutal,
But when things go to shit, there are a lot of like-minded people that are well-armed around you that will be protecting each other.
That's true. And we got a lot of deer and people stick together. I mean, these country folk, they stick, you know, and there's a flood or a fire or whatever. It's everybody's. We had COVID, quick blast here. We had COVID last year, and I literally had meals brought to my house, most of them homemade.
Really?
For the better part of 2 weeks, 14 days. We had a different family every time. Some of them were church folks. Some of them were all cul-de-sac neighborhood folks. And there were 2 whole weeks of food every single night.
How long have you lived there?
We had, at this point, it was a year and a half. We had been here 3 months.
Wow.
And that happened. Yeah.
Texas people are very friendly, nice, giving people.
Very much. Yeah. Especially in the small towns and suburbs and, so.
Oh my God, if you were in California, they'd put a quarantine around you, and you went to your mailbox without a mask, they'd call the police on you.
Infraction. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Will. Great to catch up with you. Perpetual Assets. And
Thanks, Dick.
I look forward to hearing from some people who do the rollover. And when the cryptos run, they're going to say, you guys saved my retirement. And that's going to happen.
Yeah, it will. Absolutely.
Aloha, Will. Bye-bye.
Thanks, brother. Take care.